as I said, man, at the beginning of this, understanding stuff and remembering stuff, that's not important. It's important, but not enough for you to make it at the university. That's a classical example. I went to the lectures. I was understanding everything he was saying on the lectures. I said, well, I'm good. I don't need to study or anything. I went to the test and got a 24%. So it just goes back to what I was saying earlier on, that, your memory, that is good to have, but you need extra things. You need to go extra on your books. And that goes throughout, from first year all the way out.
Yeah. Okay, this is it. This is the Student Plug, where we actually talk everything student support and development. And my name is Ben Mahudu. And today on the Student Plug, we are joined by a doctor of mathematics. So we're joined by a doctor of mathematics, Dr. Simo Mthethwa, founder and director of Mthethwamatics. I think and I feel that mathematics was made for you. I mean, look at Mthethwa and mathematics. Like, look at that combo.
I tell people that it rhymes, so there was no way for me not to do mathematics.
Indeed.
It would.
Yes. Dr. Simo Mthethwa is a lecturer of mathematics, a researcher of mathematics at the University of UKZN. Dr. Simo Mthethwa, ngiyakwamukela kuleli hlelo. Unjani?
No, man, I'm good, man. How are you? Thanks for the invitation, and thanks for having me, man. How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great, and I'm really excited to have you here. It's something that I've been, there are certain people that you just want to talk to every day, but unfortunately you can't. Yeah. So in this segment today, we're going to be talking about, we can just call it first year survival tips. The year is, the academic year is about to start, and we have a lot of students who are going to be joining different institutions as first years. And, it's one of, the most, challenging years, I can say, to be in first year and to cruise through that and everything like that. I like to believe that you did yours in 2009 at UKZN, Bachelor of Mathematics and Statistics, I like to believe. How was your first year?
Yeah, man, my first year was a bit hectic, just like everybody's. I went, I think I told you this before, that I'm coming from an area of rural, if I may put it like that. I'm coming from a deep rural area, man. As I told you before, we did not have electricity where I grew up until I completed matric, So this thing of electricity, I started seeing that at university, together with all the other things that I had to, adjust to and get accustomed to. All my new normal then. I had to adjust quickly before things got really ugly. But yeah, man, my first year, I came from Mpangeni to Durban, which is a city in KZN. Durban is one of the biggest, if I may say, cities here in KZN. And I'm coming from a small town. I had to adjust to things like, the lifestyle in general. And when I got to UKZN, I was accepted at UKZN, but unfortunately they did not give me rest. They said it was full, which that saw me living in the slums for my first year, So I wasn't really living, a rest student life. I would go to campus for lectures, and then, after lectures, I would go to the library because, in the slums, studying is not, that's not really a study setup. Studying is not really easy when you live in that sort of area. So I would just attend my lectures, and then in between lectures you'll find me at the library, and even after my lectures I'll be at the library till late, till the last bus that leaves the campus, till like 6:30 to 7. Just make sure that I don't get marked on the other side. I have to leave those times. Of course, the last bus would leave pretty late, but for my setup, my setting, I will have to consider what happens on the other side. Yeah, man, my first year was not so pretty. I had to make friends literally everywhere. At the university, the place I was living in, almost everywhere, man. One thing that just came now, that I'm thinking about now, we used to have afternoon tests, even evening tests. We used to have a test starting at 6, and maybe it's a 2 hours test, so it will finish around 8. And by that time, it's either there is no bus for me to catch to go back to where I live, or even if there was a bus, I don't want to take a chance. So this is just one thing I haven't really talked about in a long time. But in some of the cases where, especially at the very beginning of the first year, because I did not have friends then, I used to write tests, and then there was a situation where I had to sleep in the land.
Yeah.
And then I started making friends, in class, and there was a guy, some Kiele. Unfortunately, he got excluded that year. But I spoke to him about all of this. He said that man, if we have a test, don't worry about it. If we have a test, you can write the test, and then you can sort of come and squash in my ranks, So that's how I maneuvered with the test stuff. So with that, I was sorted. Every time we write a test, and trust me, they usually put the test in the evening, man, from say 5 to 7 or 6 to 8, something like that. Even I remember, even I was doing economics as well as a module, which comes from the the management and the accounting sciences and all that stuff. It's not really in our school or in our college. So yeah, they also used to put the tests really late. So it wasn't just a math and stat problem. I think it was just across university. They were struggling to find test times during the day, so they just scheduled it in the evening. And yeah, man, for people who were unfortunate to have rest or to have transport home, for us that was a difficult situation, and which is the reason why now I don't schedule my test that late. The latest I do with my test will be from 2 to 3:30 or something, but I don't really schedule my test that late, and it came from really this specific experience. It's not that I it's not a preference. It's just an experience that I had with evening tests and stuff like that. So you will never find my test in the evening. Yeah, man. So that was that's just I mean, one aspect of my difficulty when I was doing first year. Other aspects, man, you know, it would be the load, the work load that one does at, you know, the first year at a university level in general. But talking about the first year, you're coming from high school, you are used to a certain load. And when you get to university, man, the load is almost 4 times what you will what you would usually get in high school. I mean, if you look at, I always tell people this, that if you look at say mathematics, if you look at your grade 12 mathematics, just grade 12, the whole year, that thing at university, probably it will take maybe like 6 weeks or something, you know. So that's how fast the situation is. I'm not saying it's UKZN. I'm pretty sure that's what happens at a university level across the board. So don't think that I'm talking about UKZN here. I'm talking about university. That's exactly what happens, man. You learn concept really fast. You have to adapt to the speed. You have to adapt to this extra thing that you need to put in consideration. I mean, in high school, you will usually the teaching and the testing is just the memory. So if you could remember everything that is in the book or in your study guide, or that anything that your teacher said to you, if you can remember everything from the book, study guides and all that, you are guaranteed a pass. Trust me. But that's not really the case, man. When it comes to university, we would want you to have that skill of, you know, of remembering stuff. But then there's other levels of the skills, you know, like be able to apply what you learn to different settings and things like that. So this thing of having just to remember what you studied is not enough. It's good, but you would find that when you get to the university, that is not good enough to take you through the first year or any other level after that. So application of knowledge is very, very important, man. That's what I learned in my first year, man. Our mathematics lecturer used to put a lot of application of knowledge that we learned during the lectures and tutorials and things like that. So, man, it was one thing that I had to adjust to quickly before it became ugly. When I say it became ugly, I mean a situation where you fail, and then, you know, at university level, you cannot just fail as you wish. You have an extent of failing. They put a bar that, okay, if you fail up to here, we're gonna have to exclude you. We're gonna give you a break. You go home and kind of think about what you really want to do. So yeah, man, that's one thing I had to learn about all those things, that there's exclusion here, and I used to really fear that thing, because I would see like my friends getting excluded, man. It wasn't a pretty good thing. As I said, the guy that I used to crash, the guy that I used to use the room, that the guy who offered me a room when we have tests and stuff like that. As I said, man, that man got excluded, I think, after first year and a semester. So he wasn't even, you know, he wasn't lazy, he wasn't anything. I think he just needed to adapt to all these things that I'm mentioning: the pace, the application of knowledge, the time that you need to spend on your books, because at university they usually give you time. It's there in their handbooks. I'm sure all the universities have these things where you just come in as a first year, you need to read all those things. They are not joking when they say you need to spend a minimum of 40 hours a week on your books. True, that is very true. If you don't do that, chances of survival will become very, very slim. So man, my first year from different angles, it wasn't so smooth. It wasn't so smooth. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, no, you gave a very wonderful synopsis there, and I get this kind of answering when I interview and when I talk to academics. Academics are very good at giving you they are very good at giving you angles. Yeah, Dr. Simo Mthethwa, I think your story resonates with a lot of people, because as you also said that you came from the villages, have to move to the cities because that's where UKZN is based. It's based in Durban, and Durban is a very huge city, and you came from a village. I also come from a background like that. I come from Limpopo. All my life I was in this small, tiny village, and all of a sudden I have to move to Johannesburg, big cities, lights. I always joke to say that the first time I showered was when I went to university. A lot of things.
The first time I showered when I got to rest.
Same as me actually. So the transitioning, especially coming from the villages or come from the rural areas to varsity, is not only about the academics as well. It's also about the environment. The environment has changed. There's new people, there's a new way of doing things and everything like that. So for you, how was your transitioning? What were some of those things that really shocked you when you go to university that you have to really adjust yourself into? Just take us through your transition from a village, Empangeni, from high school to now being in the big cities, and now, how was that for you?
And the transition, let me put it this way, as much as I'm a free kind of a person, but I'm so introverted as well. That's the first thing that's one component of my character that actually helped me. That helped me to study the new setup. When you are introverted, people do not really approach you easily. You don't make friends easily. So I'm actually grateful to God that He made me that way, because I could utilize that space where no one was talking to me to study the environment, not just the maths and statistics, economics and all the computer science. No, that was just what I came here for, the academics. So I'm talking about the environment, the setup, the new world that I have to live in. That period when I had no single friend, or wasn't really talking to anyone that way, it helped me to study the way things are happening in the city. As I told you, man, I had to adjust to a lot of things. For example, like on my weekends, I used to go to Devon Station. There's a place that we call Devon Station where you have a lot of street vendors there, and my mother was one of those people that were selling stuff there. So on Fridays, for example, Friday, Saturday, Sundays even, So I would, go there to sell stuff. So that helped me master the city, because that area is really located in the city, like, in the city, in the central of the city, in Durban, as in the city, not the area. So it helped me. That only, it just helped me to see that, well, everybody is a visitor here.
Yeah.
That was my conclusion. That, well, I think everybody is a visitor here. Everybody is busy with something, and if you are really not gonna be busy with something, you're gonna end up doing this. You're gonna end up doing that. You're gonna end up doing this. And examples were right in front of me, because when you are in the city, you see everything. Everything that is bad, if I can put it that way.
Sure.
So that part of selling stuff, it really helped me to understand that, well, we are selling here. There are taxis to Johannesburg here, just right in front of me. There is this here. So everybody is doing something. Even these taxi guys are doing something. They are just transporting people from here to Johannesburg and back and things like that. Just in front of me, there will be the guys who are, your barbers, people who cut people's hair, and then there will be us selling stuff, selling this stuff, the shield.
Yeah.
Selling all this Zulu, Xhosa, so all these African kind of things. And, we would have people from Lesotho just coming there to buy the hat, You would have people coming from Swaziland buying these, people coming from Eastern Cape, people coming from everywhere. All these different customers, they'll come there and buy whatever that we sell. And as I said, man, one thing that I learned is that everyone is a visitor here and everyone is busy with something. So I then took that, I just transposed it to the academic side of things, that, well, I'm not really here in the university to kind of do anything more than just getting these books correct and kind of get my degree and maneuver to exactly what I wanted to be. Because when I went to the university, I went with the mentality that I want to be a mathematician, and I used to see our lecturers and people like that, and I used to think that would be me in less than 10 years time, whether I like it or not. I have to be there. So I mean, as I was saying, man, that the situation at the rank and selling stuff, it helped me understand that everyone is here, is a visitor here, and everyone is busy with something. So you need to spend most of your time doing what you came here for, because if you don't, there are examples right in front of you that you might end up being there. You might end up being there. So yeah, man, that was kind of as I said, that the introvert part of me helped me to study all those things and then put them together to help me, because I think I took this thing of not talking too much or being an introvert. I took that from my mom. I used to see how she was doing stuff even there where we were selling, there are these things that we call Zulu mats, amatanzi and things like that. She wasn't really, she was a friendly person, but she was not really bubbly like that. So I think I just studied how she was doing the stuff on the street there. And then I just said, okay, I'm just going to take this same thing and put it on the academic side. So for real, like just studying the setup helped me to actually maneuver in the city and make sure that I don't make wrong decisions, easily make wrong decisions. Yeah, man. But that's as far as transition is concerned. My point is the introvert part of me helped me to study, not to just go and do what people do, but helped me to just be reserved and study that, okay, these are things that people are doing here. Okay, if I don't do this thing of mine that I want to do correctly, I'm going to end up in this situation or in that situation or in that situation. And it was very clear, man. As I said, like from the city, when I'm home, I'll be in the slums, I'll be in the ghetto, and I see all the examples that I don't want to be, I see everybody, every character, everything that I don't want to be. So it's there, it's just there in front of me. So yeah, man, it helped me to just study the whole setup. And then I was like, okay, I don't want to be that, I don't want to be that, I don't want to be that. So what must I do? I have to do exactly what I came here for. I'm a visitor here, just like everybody else. There are people who now act like they are not visitors here, but they actually are visitors. So I don't want to end up in that comfortable setup where I think Durban is my grandmother's house, So yeah, man, that was the whole thing. That was the setup.
I like what you said. I like what you said there when you say that you're all visitors here. And so I think what maybe one can say is that, especially to students, to first years, is that you're a visitor here. We all come from different places to come for that qualification, to come for the degree, and what you have said just now, that some people forget that they are visitors here. In the sense of students, sometimes they forget that actually they came here to study, they came here for the degree, and now there's a lot of things that actually now, take their attention and everything like that. I think that is that was well said. I get it that, from what you're saying with your mother, and I know that, I was watching some of the interviews that you did at SABC. And in one of the interviews was that the passing of your mother really was very, that it was as one can imagine, when someone like your mother passes away, as a student, it affects you in a certain way. And as students, there are many things that actually affect us, that in our studying and everything like that. Did that actually shake your studying or shake your academics? And were they?
For sure. As I've already mentioned in those previous interviews that you just mentioned, the passing away of my mother was not a very good experience, as it should not be a good experience, but I think it just hit me where it hurts. I wasn't expecting it. It was highly unexpected, and because I've already outlined to you that my mother was someone that I studied. My mother was not an educated person when you're talking about books and things like that, but used to study the way she was doing things. So she was like my mentor without even noticing that she is my mentor. The part of her being my mother, I think that was enough when I was living in rural areas. But when I came to Durban, I was living with her, literally living with her. And I just used to observe the way he was doing things, and I took a lot of notes. And in that process of me taking notes, boom, gone. You know what I'm saying? So it negatively impacted on my academics, man, for status, maybe emotionally and all that, but my academics, it reflected. I remember getting a 24%, just maybe a month after after her passing. I remember we wrote a test. I got a 24%. I couldn't believe myself. I couldn't believe what I saw. You know, I was like, "Whoa, this! I know university is not easy, but I've never aimed this low." You know, so it was just there was no way to hide the thing. It was reflecting in so many components of my, even socially, man. I started doing things that I wasn't doing before. Even, you know, I actually started this dating thing. I think that's when I started doing the dating, and you know, unsupervised or anything like that. So I started seeing some psychological change, even in my mind. So man, yeah, man, my mother's passing was not. Even though I kind of like gathered myself and snapped out of it, it was not an easy thing to process. Especially, man, I think what used to like get to me the most is that, you know, when my mother passed, we had her funeral on a Sunday, right? And on the Tuesday, I was graduating. So her funeral was on a Sunday, and then a day in between. That's when I went back to Durban because I was at home in Bangin, and then came to Durban on that Monday. And then on Tuesday I was graduating. That used to like mess with my head a lot, man. That you know, things that we used to talk about, she couldn't see any of those, you know. But yeah, man. It trust me. I don't really hide this thing here. That I'm not trying to play a Bugatti or The Rock or something. I fully accept that my mother's passing was not the prettiest thing that I ever had to process, man. But yeah, man, we live, man. We live and learn that, you know, as you grow, some people are gonna, you know, pass away, and people that are close to you actually are one of those people that are gonna pass away, and you might want to have a way of processing all that. It's just that I think in my case, man, I was less expecting that, and it was a moment where I'm supposed to make my mother proud, and then that was just gone, you know. So yeah, man, it was a situation like that. But I'm glad that I quickly adapted to the setup. I got back on my books before it was too late. So yeah, man. You know, I didn't fail a semester because of that, but surely I failed. I remember getting a 24% for it was a logic taught by James Raftery. Logic test, logic or universal algebra, either of those two. I got a 24%, and James actually called me in the office. James is an A-rated mathematician, by the way. He's at UP now. He called me into his office. He asked me what's going on. I told him I don't know what's going on. he told me exactly what was going on. He said, and I quote, he said, "You are not doing what you usually do." And I'm like, damn, what do you mean? And then he said, specifically, "You are not doing mathematics. I can tell that you wrote this test without studying or anything like that." And he was right. I just went to the test, man, without studying or anything. I used to just go to the lectures, attend, pack my books, go to rest. Go to the lectures, pack my books, go to rest. And I went there with the hope that, well, I'm understanding this guy on the lectures. And as I said, man, at the beginning of this, understanding stuff and remembering stuff, that's not important. It's important, but not enough for you to make it at a university. That's a classical example. I went to the lectures. I was understanding everything he was saying on the lectures. I said, well, I'm good. I don't need to study or anything. I went to the test and got a 24%. So it just goes back to what I was saying earlier on, that, your memory, that is good to have, but you need extra things. You need to go extra on your books. And that goes throughout, from first year all the way out.
Yeah. No, that's a very sad story. The story of your mother, and it's very sensitive. And the reason why I'm raising it here is because, there are many things, or there are many challenges that first year face, which most of them are very psychological, and sometimes we don't talk about those. When they start to fade, we just start to think that they are not studying or they are not being focused. But there are things that happen that actually shut their mind or that affect them psychologically. And for you, the passing of a mother did that. So me and you are in the academic space. So it brings me to this point to say, as someone in the academic space, as someone who's exposed to first years, you see them, you interact with them, what are some of the challenges that you see them facing, that actually affect them psychologically, that I think we should be able to raise here, to be like this and this and this and that. I think bereavement is one of those. When a first year loses their, one of their loved ones, it actually becomes that. The environment, from what I've seen, is that it also affects them. Some of them, they start to think that, am I gonna? Yeah, they start to think, am I gonna be able to make it here? The place is huge, and there is everyone, So there is that shock to be like, oh, there is this people. They start to find themselves being small in the environment. So those are some of the things, but I'd like you to maybe expatiate on that. What are some of the things, that you see affecting first years at that level?